It's Ajayi Joel, and today I'll be talking about optimism. Optimism as an entrepreneur. You know, most times people say be optimistic. It is actually one cliche, or it's something we've been using very well for life, but especially in the entrepreneurial world, that if you're optimistic, you would achieve your goals. The honest truth is, the reason why I'm addressing this now is because I feel there is a downside to the word be optimistic. Like, it's not totally expounded or made so plain to you, because if you do not understand that optimism has boundaries, you might eventually ruin yourself. And let me just give a very good scenario. When you're starting an entrepreneurial journey, or when you're starting your entrepreneurial journey, you come up with an idea, then the next thing is you dream that in the next 5 to 10 years you'll be like Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates. Then when things begin to get tough, you begin to hear words like be optimistic, keep pushing, one day it's going to get better. Well, as true as that may sound, it can actually be the reason why you will go into depression. It can actually be the reason why you will fail, because optimism has boundaries. Optimism has probabilities, and this is what I mean. Somebody, let's just use an example. Person A wants to become the best football player in the world, or in Nigeria. Let's use Nigeria as an example. You want to become the best football player in Nigeria. The optimistic thing to do is that one day, once you train, you would eventually become the best football player. But that is actually not enough to help you achieve that goal. And this is why I'm treating this. It's not enough to help you achieve the goal, because first you need to understand the probability of you becoming the best player. Here's what I mean. You want to become the best player. Obviously, Super Eagles, they have 11 players that will be playing on the field. You need to first know the number of persons, like have a rough estimate in your mind, number of persons that are also trying to get into this position, because the obvious truth is there might be 100,000 persons also trying to become the best to become players for Nigerian Super Eagles. The moment you are aware of the fact that there are 100,000 persons also wanting that position, you will know that the chance of you becoming a player for Super Eagles is like 1/100, like 1/100 of the number of persons that are eventually trying to play for the Super Eagles. This reality will help you either train better or look for an added advantage that will help you scale faster and beat them. To beat them, to become like probably to be picked among one out of the 11 players. But if you're not aware of the fact that there are 100,000 persons and you're training like 3 hours a day, every other person is training 3 hours a day, you will not still get there, because your odds of winning, your chances of winning is still the same thing when 100,000 persons are playing. So the moment you are aware of this, if you're aware it's 100,000 persons and you're training 3 hours a day, 4 times a week, you will have to increase your training to probably like 6 hours or 7 hours a day, then maybe six days a week. Then also look for how to get connection to coaches and some other things. Now let's bring this to the entrepreneurial terrain. You start an idea. The optimistic thing to think about is, well, in the next few years I'm going to scale. But what are the chances of losing? Because the truth of the matter is, out of every one person that succeeds, 99 other persons are failed in the entrepreneurial world. So you must be able to define your optimism with boundaries and not be delusional. That is why I'm sending this. You need to first be aware of the conditions surrounding what it will take you to succeed in whatever you're doing as an entrepreneur. If you're not aware, you will keep being lost, hustling, pushing the same things, whereas probably you need to iterate, you need to have done something else, you need to have taken a different turn, you need to have iterated or connected with somebody else. But if you just keep being optimistic, which I believe optimism alone can be dangerous if it has no boundaries. The same way people say consistency would help you succeed in life, I also do not agree with that wholly, because it has its own proper perspective to it. You will see people tell you that, hey, be consistent with what you're doing, with time it's going to eventually bring food. No doubt about that. That's actually very true. But as an entrepreneur, you cannot afford to take chances. So consistency too can be very dangerous if you're being consistent on the wrong thing. If you're consistently taking the wrong channel, if you're consistently doing the wrong thing and you're not fully aware of the fact that it is wrong, you will miss it. You will miss it. That's why, as an entrepreneur, as much as possible, always try to get yourself to the point of what are the conditions surrounding this. And that is why whenever you want to start up a business, you don't just assume or you don't just rush into running a business. You need to first understand the conditions surrounding the business. Let's say I want to start a laundry business. First thing, I would want to know if people in that area need laundry services. If they do, can they afford to pay for the laundry service I'm offering? If they can afford, how often will they want to come back for me to keep sustaining myself? If you cannot understand the conditions around being a successful laundry person, then you will just start and keep pushing, doing your laundry service and keep making mere amount of money, keep making pennies, and you think you're doing fine, whereas you could have also actually built an industry on what you're doing. So if you're here and you're very optimistic, kudos to you. Optimism is one of the things that drives entrepreneurship. It's one of the forces that keep us moving. I mean, when challenges are tough, times are tough, you need optimism. You need to be so optimistic. When people don't believe in you, you need to be very optimistic. But at the same time, don't be delusional. Be aware if your idea would actually work out or not. You cannot figure everything out immediately, but the few things you can figure out is, number one, are people available for this idea that want to pay for it? If they are not available, please don't be optimistic about it. Do not be optimistic about it. You cannot force people who do not need a product to eventually need it. Something like you're optimistic that you will travel to the sun in the next 10 years. Let me not use that. Let me see. You're optimistic that you will play for you're optimistic that you will play for Man U or one of these big clubs. Let me use my club. You're optimistic that you're going to play for Juventus. Then you start training locally, but you're not aware of the chances or the odds of getting to that point. So every day you just keep going to the same training field consistently. You're being consistent and you're optimistic. Those two alone is not going to get you there. But once you're aware that to train for Juve, there are several other persons that firstly they are trying to like push themselves to get to train to play for Super Eagles, so that they will get to play for the world play at the World Cup, then probably be recognized and some other things like that. You will just keep being, and a lot of entrepreneurs are actually in this state, like they are just so comfortable with a customer coming to them, and then they believe that once one customer comes, with time 10 other customers are going to come. Well, it does not just work that way. It's going to take a longer time for you if you are having this mindset, but you can actually accelerate your growth process if you put all these things I'm saying into practice. That means you need to put the odds of winning into perspective, as well as what to do to increase your chances of getting there, and to increase the time, to accelerate the time it will take you to get those things done. That's one of the things I'm doing at Climber. And whatever I'm doing, I'm always thinking about what am I doing what I'm currently doing. Is it something people are willing to pay for? And I've been able to discover that people would pay for this thing. I've calculated how much I might eventually make from it. Then from time to time, I keep asking, based on this new trend coming up, am I sure that I'm still on the right track? Am I sure that I'm still very relevant? Am I sure I will hit the goal at the set time? So you need to put all these things and not just be a one-way jack. You just wake up and the next thing is, oh, today is another day to continue to be consistent. Today is another day to keep pushing. One day it go better. One day it's going to get better. Well, it's true, but the winners actually have a different mindset than this. They have a mindset of one day is going to be better. Then, but for me to make it better, I need to do 3 times of what I did yesterday, because there are 100 new persons that have come into the ball game. Then probably the next time, tomorrow again, I need to do 50 times of what I did the previous day, because new set of persons have also come into the picture. So if you're an entrepreneur, just know that optimism is not enough, and optimism can be very dangerous if you do not set boundaries for it. Optimism has probabilities, and you need to also be able to put this in perspective. And I would say that if you got value from this, I want you to subscribe to this channel on YouTube, Official Climber. The handle is going to be there. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube to learn a lot about entrepreneurship. Then you can also follow us on IG, Official Climber, and you can follow me as well, the Ajayi Joel. It's THE_AJAYIJOEL. What we do at Climber basically is we help entrepreneurs with the knowledge they need to start, grow, and scale their businesses, from marketing, sales, and a lot of other things. So if you got value from this, share with your friends, share with a lot of persons that you know that are pushing in this entrepreneurial world. It's not really easy, but I know that if we put in the right work and we are optimistic as well, we would eventually get those dreams achieved. So till the next video you watch from me, keep grinding.